On Larry King Now, it's Charlamagne Tha God.
I feel like I'm always evolving, I'm always growing, I'm constantly changing. Like, I want people just to say he's authentic at all times.
Don't you have anyone you really want to interview?
Yeah, but they're probably not alive. It's probably somebody I would have questions for, like a Malcolm X.
Tell me about black privilege.
I'm saying it's a privilege to be black. 'Cause I think when we, especially now when you have all these conversations about white privilege and white supremacy, I think sometimes it can also put a black inferiority complex into people.
Plus,
I think she'd have been an amazing president. And a lot of people would say, oh, she's a woman and women aren't meant to lead. But I'm like, women have been the CEOs of our lives since day one.
All next on Larry King Now. From New York City, my guest is the one, the only Charlamagne Tha God, the self-proclaimed prince of pissing people off, hosts the massively popular nationally syndicated radio show, The Breakfast Club, as well as MTV2's Uncommon Sense. And his new book, Black Privilege, Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It, is available right now. Thanks for coming here, Charlamagne.
Mr. King, thank you for having me again,
It's
sir.
great being on your show.
Thank you.
You've been called the Howard Stern of hip-hop. Is that a compliment?
Yeah, I think it's a compliment because I think when people can't properly describe something, like when they're trying to tell somebody about something and they can't properly describe it, then they try to say something that may be familiar to that person. So they'd be like, yeah, he's like the Howard Stern of hip-hop.
All right.
And
How would you describe you?
I don't try to describe me. And the reason I don't try to describe me is because I feel like I'm always evolving, I'm always growing, I'm constantly changing. Like, I don't want to ever be put in a box. If anything, I want people just to say he's authentic at all times. And I'm open, like I'm always willing to learn. So I think that when you're always willing to learn, you're not gonna just place a label on yourself and say, this is what I am, because that could change tomorrow.
Has Howard been on your show?
No, he hasn't. I never even got the pleasure of meeting Howard Stern yet.
You should have been on his, you should be on.
He invited me on, but the company, this is like maybe 5-6 years ago, the company I work for, iHeart, wouldn't allow me to go on his satellite radio show. They were saying it was a conflict of interest. I'm sure it's different now, but at the time they wouldn't let me.
You're not afraid to ask tough questions, right? I mean, you're comfortable with people like Jay-Z and Kanye West and Hillary Clinton and
Absolutely.
Nicki Minaj, Justin Bieber, right? Ever regret anything you've said?
Ever regret anything I said? No, I don't think so. Because
Ever get nervous with the guests?
Never get nervous. Because I always come from the perspective of a curious fan. And when you come from the perspective of a curious fan, you're just having a conversation and you're asking like things that a fan would want to know.
Correct.
Like, I'm never being malicious. I'm never being, I don't think I'm being disrespectful. Some people might say otherwise.
You don't have an agenda.
I don't have an agenda, nope.
Last time you were on, you told me that Rihanna is your dream guest. Is that still true?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't really have a dream guest. That's such a weird question. I don't even know if I even...
Well, a lot of people sometimes. I mean, I've had a 60-year career. I got everybody. I miss Fidel Castro. I would have loved to.
You never interviewed Fidel?
No, I interviewed everybody else, but I miss Fidel.
I'm sure that was on the schedule. What happened?
Well, nothing. No, we never made a connection.
Wow.
So don't you have anyone you really want to interview?
Yeah, but they're probably not alive. It's probably somebody I would have questions for, like a Malcolm X or...
I knew Malcolm X.
Elijah Muhammad or somebody.
I interviewed Malcolm X, see, so... I've been around a little. Well, you got a way to go.
I got a way to go, yeah.
All right, you were part of the conversation during the election. You had experiences with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
Would you say you were disappointed with the outcome?
Disappointed would be an understatement. Because, I mean, I thought that was going to be like a real moment. Like, I went to the Jacob Javits Center thinking that it was going to be a celebration. Hillary was going to win. I took my daughter, my wife was with me, because I thought that was going to be like a real big moment for women. So, disappointment was an understatement. I still can't believe America was that stupid.
What do you make of Mr. Trump so far?
I mean, trash. Like everything that we thought, as bad as we thought it was going to be, it seemed like it's just as bad, if not worse. Like, I don't see a silver lining in this administration. I mean, at this point, we know this administration is going to crash and burn. It's just a matter of what network is going to pick up the rights to the miniseries.
Would you say you're surprised?
No. Because, I mean, he's not qualified to be president. Like, see, that's the problem, I think, in America. Like, America's a great country because you can truly be anything that you want to be in this country, but you shouldn't just be allowed to be president because you want to. Like, you should have some experience, some qualifications, at least be senior class president of your high school. Something. You can't just be able to run for president because you want to.
You seem to have bonded with Hillary.
Yeah.
I know her a long, long time. Think she'd have been a great president?
I think she'd have been an amazing president. And you know, a lot of people would say, oh, she's a woman and women aren't meant to lead. But I'm like, women have been the CEOs of our lives since day one. Whether it's your grandmother, your mother, your aunts, like women control everything. Women turn a house into a home. So she'd have made the White House a white home, you know?
We'll get into the book in the next section, but how did you get into radio?
I was working a lot of odd jobs, you know, because I was running the street, in and out of jail.
Where?
Now, in Charleston, South Carolina, and Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I was born in Charleston, but raised in a small town called Moncks Corner. So, you know, when I started getting involved into the street life, it just came a point where I knew that in order to change my life, I had to change my lifestyle. So I started working a bunch of odd jobs. I worked at a clothing store in the mall. I worked at a flower garden. I worked telemarketing, and I ran into this radio personality. His name was Willie Will. I ran into him at a recording studio, and he did radio. And I just asked him, yo, how'd you get into radio? And he said, I went down there and got an internship. And I was like, it's that easy? Like, I don't have to be in school or nothing? And he was like, I mean, I wasn't. So I went down there, filled out the internship papers. That was 1998, and I never looked back because that was the most positive thing I had ever done. That was the most accomplished thing I had ever done at the time. I mean, I'm a guy that came from a dirt road who used to sell crack. Now I'm inside a radio station.
What was your first job?
First real job, I worked at a warehouse called Industrial Acoustics Company. Yeah.
What did you do on the radio the first time?
The first time, I mean, the best part about, you know, being on the radio the first time, and I talk about it in my book, the best part about the first time I was on the radio was I had no experience. Because being that I didn't have no experience, I just didn't know how to do anything but go on there and just be myself. Like, I didn't have anything to rely on. So I just was myself. I had conversations. I took a lot of phone calls, you know, kind of using the phones as a crutch. And that became real popular, just me being me, not being like a robotic announcer who's getting on doing time and temperature and the weather.
More with my guest, Charlamagne Tha God, right after this. We're back with Charlamagne Tha God. Tell me about black privilege.
Black privilege.
How did it come about?
I mean, you know, my mother was an English teacher. You know, I always tell people that the way I transcended my circumstances was through literature and hip hop music, because, you know, I grew up in a very small area, Moncks Corner on a dirt road. So in order for me to like imagine other worlds, I had to read a lot and I had to, you know, listen to hip hop music. They took me to other worlds. So I always wanted to write a book because I feel like literature is what helped me evolve. Literature is what sparked something in me that made me say, yeah, you know what? I can do that too. Like, you know, it was books like the autobiography of Malcolm X, or, you know, books like Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad, or a great book called From to God by Akil. Like, that sparked something in me. So I felt like I wanted to share, you know, 8 principles that I learned in my life with people, and I hope that will spark something in them. Because I love self-help books. I love like the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, or the Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
So these others inspired you?
Oh, absolutely, without question. So
Are you a vociferous reader?
Yeah, I try to read a lot because I feel like, you know, especially in this day and age where you don't know what's real and what's fake as far as information is concerned, I try to stay informed by opening up books. And plus, my father told me a long time ago, whenever they want to hide something from a black man, they put it in a book. And I don't like secrets. I'm saying it's a privilege to be black, because I think when we, you know, especially now when you have all these conversations about white privilege and white supremacy, I think sometimes it can also put a black inferiority complex into people, or just any marginalized society can feel inferior when it comes to white supremacy. So what I'm telling people is it's a divine privilege to be alive. So whatever you are, you should embrace that and find power in that. And I happen to be a black male, so I find power in being a black male. I feel like God created me who I am for a reason. So I can't look at somebody and say that they got more than me just because of the color of their skin.
You list some keys to success. Give me some.
Live your truth. Live your truth so nobody can ever use your truth against you. I call that the Eminem and 8 Mile theory, because, you know, you ever seen 8 Mile? At the end, Eminem said everything about himself that his opponent could possibly say. He owned everything about himself. So his opponent was defenseless. So that's how I try to live my life. I try to be open. I try to be transparent. I got another principle in there called put the weed in the bag first. And that comes from a hood movie called Belly. And in the movie Belly, DMX and Nas are sitting at the table with these 2 young kids, and the young kids are like, yo, we want to go out there in the street and get money with y'all, man, F school. And DMX says, man, shut up and put the weed in the bag first. And that's basically saying everything is a process. Like, you can't just go from A to Z. You got to go through the rest of the alphabet first. You have to go through a process. So, you know, those are a couple of the principles in the book.
Who's the book for?
Everybody. Like any kid that grew up in a small town like me, anybody that's part of a marginalized society, anybody who feels like, the color of their skin or their gender or their sexuality, that may be holding them back, anybody who's ever felt depressed, anybody who feels like they just need a little bit more of a push to feel like they can make it in this society. That book is for them.
In view of your feelings about the president, is it still in this book everything possible for the Black American?
Yeah, absolutely. Donald Trump's not God. Nobody in this administration is God. At the end of the day, nobody can stop the destiny that God has planned for you except for you. And that's why they give us these messages to make us feel inferior. Because when they plant these messages in our brain of being inferior, it makes us feel like we can't do it. And as soon as you fix your mouth to say, I can't do something, it won't get done. Simple as that.
Do you think Donald Trump's a racist?
You can't prove it, but yeah.
Wouldn't you like to interview him?
It was a point in time where I did say I wanted to interview Donald Trump, but now I feel like Donald Trump should sit down with somebody much smarter than me. Like, I think he should sit down with the people he's avoiding, like people who have been fighting these social justice movements for a long time, or members of the Congressional Black Caucus, people like, Maxine, Waters. Like, he needs to sit down with people like that, who can actually talk policy with him and tell him how his rhetoric and things are dangerous. Like, talking to me is not gonna move the culture forward in no way, shape, or form.
It sure is early. Is there someone you're looking forward to run in 2020?
I'm looking forward to Cory Booker. I wouldn't mind seeing Elizabeth Warren either in 2020. Those are the two people that I have in mind right now, but I'm hoping to see what develops in the next couple of years, because I feel like we're dealing with a whole new brand of politics right now.
Cory Booker's your senator, right? You live in Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time for a break. A special game of If You Only Knew with Charlamagne Tha God. The book is Black Privilege. Opportunity comes to those who create it. It's going to be a bestseller. Don't click away.
Woo!
We're back with Charlamagne Tha God. The book is Black Privilege. How long is The Breakfast Club going to stay on?
Listen, man, my idols in the radio game are people like Elvis Duran and Howard Stern and, Steve Harvey. But if you look at guys like Elvis and Howard, they've been around forever. So I don't know. I hope we get that kind of run. I hope we bow out when we want to.
How do you pick the donkey of the day?
Oh, that's easy. You just give people the credit they deserve for being stupid. Like, today's donkey of the day was Michael Flynn, because...
He's going to get immunity.
Yeah, but after last year, he said that anybody who requested immunity probably committed a crime. But now it's, I want immunity, but not because I possibly committed a crime, but just because I want immunity. No, that's not how this works, buddy.
We play a little game of If You Only Knew. I just throw some questions at you, Charlamagne, and you're quick on your feet. Who is your childhood celebrity crush?
Childhood celebrity crush, Patti LaBelle, and still is.
Best piece of advice you ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was from my father, and that's when he told me, you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are.
What's the worst piece of advice you ever?
Worst piece of advice I got from a cousin aunt, because I'm from the country, so we have cousin aunts. And she told me that I should not set my dreams and goals so high, because if I don't achieve them, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I thought that was the stupidest I ever heard in my life.
Place we'd find you on a day off?
Home. I'm a homebody. I'm a Cancer. That's my astrological sign. I'm home. I like being home with my kids and wife. 2 daughters, because I was a hoe in the past life. And when you were a hoe in the past life and you broke a lot of girls' hearts, you get daughters. You get blessed with daughters, but it's also the player's curse.
You were in a past life?
Well, this life.
Oh.
Yeah. like some years
ago.
How
old are the girls?
8 and 18 months.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun, ain't it?
Yeah, now, until they bring boyfriends home, and I got to think about who they sucking.
Person you would like to switch places with for a day?
Nobody, honestly.
Biggest risk you ever took?
Biggest risk I ever took, probably coming to New York City in 2006, because I was doing radio in Columbia, South Carolina, and Wendy Williams and her husband offered me a position as their co-host, but they told me they couldn't pay me. They could just give me a place to stay. And I was like, all right, I'm out. Because I believed in myself that much. I knew if I was to do what I was supposed to do on her show, I could write my own ticket. So moving from South Carolina all the way up here, not knowing anything about New York, not
Good
for
risk,
no pay.
well taken.
Great risk.
One thing people get wrong about you?
That I'm trying to be a shock jock. That I'm saying things for shock value.
You're not?
Not at all.
Biggest regret?
Biggest regret? Oh, man. I don't know if I have any, because if I had any regrets, If I had regrets, I wouldn't be who I am right now. Like, I feel like I went through everything that I was supposed to go through in life for a reason.
Person you'd least like to be stranded on a desert island with?
Probably Donald Trump at this point in the game.
Dream guests on any of your shows besides Rihanna?
That's such a tough question because there's so many people out there, man. Like, I don't know. Like right now, I really want to talk to Don Miguel Ruiz because I've been such a fan of his work for so long. Like, he wrote the 4 Agreements and the 5th Agreement and the Voice of Knowledge and the Mastery of Self. Like, I love.
So call him.
I don't know him.
Someone will find him.
It's easier for you, Larry.
Something that people aren't paying enough attention to.
I don't think they're really paying attention to what's really going on in this administration. I think it's all over the news, and we get so focused on the little distractions, but we're not focusing on what could possibly be the real agenda of this administration. Like, what's going on in plain sight or even behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Music we'd be surprised you listen to.
I don't know. Cause I mean, I listen to a little bit of everything. Like, I'm into everything. Like, I like pop music, I like hip hop, I like gospel. Like, if it's a hot record, it's a hot record. Music and math, the only 2 things that's universal, right?
You like Sinatra?
I do like Sinatra, especially on New Year's Eve when that ball drops.
If not broadcasting, what would you do?
I don't even like to think about that hypothetical question. I thank God that I'm broadcasting. Broadcasting saved my life.
Charlamagne in 10 years.
Charlamagne in 10 years. I hope that I'm a well-respected multimedia personality. I honestly hope people look at me in the same way they look at guys like you, or the same way they look at guys like Dan Rather. I hope it's a certain brand of integrity that they know I brought to the game. Like, more so than anything else. Like, not the money, not fame. I want them to say he is a legend in his field. He was a legend at what he did.
You're gonna make it, Charlamagne. In our final moments, we're flooded with social media questions for Charlamagne. He'll answer some when we return. The book again is Black Privilege. Opportunity comes to those who create it. We'll be right back. We're back with Charlamagne the Great. The book is available everywhere. It's Black Privilege.
Yep.
The symbol of Charlamagne. Oh, we have some social media questions. At BabyNR on Twitter, do you wish to write another book after Black Privilege?
Oh, absolutely. I already got the concept in mind. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a book strictly about radio interviews, because, you know, I got all of these interviews that people always talk about. So I want to talk about some of the things that went into those interviews, some of the fallout from those interviews, why I did certain things, why I regret certain things that may have happened.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Ashley Miller on the Larry King Now blog. What are your thoughts on Tomi Lahren's apparent fired from the Blaze network?
Oh, I knew that was coming. I mean, I told Tommy a long time ago. I said that, you know,
Tomi Lahren.
Tomi Lahren, yeah. I told her that.
Why was Lahren fired?
Well, she got fired because she's on a conservative network, which is Glenn Beck's network, and she went on The View and basically said she was pro-choice, and that a lot of conservatives are hypocrites, you know, if they're not pro-choice. And I kind of knew that was going to happen because I felt like Tommy was saying a lot of things that necessarily weren't her opinion. So she was just saying things because she was getting such a great reaction from them. And I always say that people who do that eventually crash and burn.
Ashley Miller also asked, are you actually friends with her? And would you like to co-host a show with her?
Nah, I wouldn't co-host a show with her. And I mean, friends is a strong word. Like, you know, we're associates in the media game. Like, she's somebody that I had a conversation with because I saw the influence she was having. And then she's really young. So the influence she was having, she was spreading a lot of dangerous rhetoric about black people in general. And, you know, I just wanted to have a conversation with her to let her know why her rhetoric is so dangerous. And maybe if you've never had communication with a black person, you need to, so you can dispel some of those false narratives that you're putting out there.
Dre Nova on Facebook. If you could pick someone to host the show with, who would it be?
Host a show with. I mean, I'm pretty much doing that. I mean, the only other person I would probably like to see on that platform is a young lady named Angela Rye. She's a CNN commentator. Like, she's really dope. Me and her have some really good conversations.
Dre Nova on Facebook also asked, is there a particular book that impacted you the most?
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
Which one?
Probably The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, because the law of attraction is real. I really do believe that anything your mind can conceive, you can achieve. I do believe that your thoughts become things. And the crazy thing is, everything that's happening in my life right now, I wrote down at some point in my life. Every year I put out my long-term goals and my short-term goals. I believe in vision boards. So when you start to see things manifest, like your books or your TV shows or being nationally syndicated, when you start seeing things like that happen, you realize how powerful your mind is, so you really guard your thoughts in a different way.
Well said. Kathy Glowacki on Facebook. What do you think your breakthrough moment was career-wise?
Oh, definitely when Wendy Williams asked me to be her co-host, without question.
Caitlin M. on the Larry King Now blog. Do you feel famous, and has all this affected you?
No, I don't at all. And I don't ever want to feel whatever that is. I don't like that. I hate people who act famous. Like, I've literally been around people who think they're famous, and I've seen them talk to waitresses. I remember one time a guy told a waitress, "You're ruining my moment." And all the waitress did was ask for his card to pay for the drinks. And I'm like, I don't want to be a dickhead. Most people who know they're famous are dickheads.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Justin Haar on the Larry King Now blog. What's your favorite thing about New York City?
The hustle, man. That's it. The spirit of the hustle in New York. That's all.
You live in New Jersey, right?
I live in New Jersey, but there's an unapologetic hustle in New York, and people are not afraid. They'll
move on.
Move on. Keep it moving. The world is gonna keep going.
Bryson Knox on Facebook. How do you deal with unruly call-in listeners?
Oh, I love it. You know, on my TV show, Uncommon Sense, I went live this season. I specifically told them, I said, I want to go live because I haven't seen live on TV since Larry King. So I take calls, you know, live, right there in the moment.
Live, yeah.
I love it. And I mean, it's just like, they're people, and you got the power. You can hang up on them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kelsey M. on the Larry King Now blog. Have you ever thought about taking up acting?
I do a little bit now. Yeah, I've done plays. I've done plays here in New York. I'm in a couple movies. There's a movie coming out actually April 20th called Grow House. The guy who did the movie Friday with Ice Cube, DJ Pooh, he's doing that movie. So I got a small role in that. I did another movie with Joseph Kahn called Bodied that I got a role in. I've been on Empire a couple times playing myself, but you know.
Do you like it?
I do, but it's very tedious work, man. I mean, Larry, for what we do, we like to be live and in the moment. Like,
I've done 21 movies. You got to sit around.
Sit around, hurry up and wait, doing the same thing over and over. Like, it's, you know, it's cool. It's not something, I'm not gonna say I love it, but it's cool.
What bugs you the most?
Right now, what bugs me the most is people not respecting the differences of others. That's what bugs me the most right now. Like, and I feel like we need more communication, more so now than ever before.
You ever wonder why people are like that? I've never understood people who are prejudiced or people who...
I hate it.
What a waste of time.
What a waste of time. Like, I was talking about the guy who killed somebody in Midtown the other day just because the guy was black. The guy came all the way from Baltimore, stabbed the dude in Midtown because he said he wanted to kill black men. So you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison for somebody you hate?
Like, and you don't know?
You don't know? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I think the world really, the consciousness of the world shifted, like, in the past few years. I think it was like, you know, all the unarmed killing of black men and then the rise of Donald Trump. And I think that's something America hasn't really dealt with yet. I think America as a whole needs group therapy. Like, we all need to hold hands and collectively, like, go sit down and talk to somebody.
Do you like fatherhood?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, it's the thing that gives you purpose. Like you realize it's bigger than you. Like, I got two individuals that I really have to care for and shape and mold.
And they're dependent on you.
And they're dependent on me. So it just makes you think about everything differently. Like this the most purposeful thing I've ever done in my life, being a father.
What do you do on vacation?
Oh, man, I love this island. It's an island called Anguilla.
I know Anguilla.
Oh, I love going to Anguilla. I just love to go to Anguilla. I took my daughter there for the first time
Dutch?
over the holidays. No, I think it's British
yeah.
West Indies, yeah. I just love going there and laying on the beach and doing nothing. Like, it's a place you can do nothing. There's no nightlife. You just eat, drink, smoke a little weed if you want to, mind your business.
A lot of fun with nothing.
That's it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mr.
Always
King.
great.
Absolutely.
Charlamagne Tha God. Big thanks, great guest. Charlamagne Tha God's new book is Black Privilege. Opportunity comes to those who create it. It's available now, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things from New York. See you next time.